In the basic paycheck program, it's important that we learn how to use variables. I'd like to illustrate the fact that I have here a form which has basically a text box and a label underneath it, the label being hours, the text box being the white area. It has a rate and also a text box associated with that, and the text box by the name is called txt.rate, and the label is called LBL. I'm sorry, not txt.rate, it's called txt rate. This is called txt hours, and this one down here is txt gross pay is the name of the text box, and the labels underneath would be LBL gross pay, LBL rate, and LBL hours. There's also a command button or a button here that we push to do the calculation. That's where we're going to put all the code. One thing I need to emphasize is that in doing these programs that we basically make sure our text boxes are left justified. When you have text in these things and you're typing names or words, you want the text right justified. But when you're typing numbers, you'd like things over on the left side. So to do that, I come over to the Properties window, which you can see is over here, and it may be a slightly different location. It may be underneath a tab on your screen, depending on how your particular Visual Basic Express came up. But it's going to be here, and when you find the properties, you're coming down to Text Align. And the first thing we want to do is let's go up to this one. I'm going to click on this one, go down below Text, get to Text Align, and I want it right justified actually. Probably said it wrong earlier, didn't I? We need it right justified over on the right side if it's a number. We need it on the left side if it's text. Let's go to the next one here. I also want it right justified. And since this is going to be also a number, let's justify it right. And as you saw, I just double clicked on this one and it jumped to the next item. Okay, we now have our text boxes set up the way I want to. Let's go to the code. I double click on the button and that gives me a routine which I can use, private sub button calc, and there's a click option here, and I can use that to create code in here that'll happen when the button is clicked. Alright, there are others that I can use. For example, if I go up here, I can come down and let's go down a little further here. Let's get a mouse. How about the mouse hover? Will that produce one? Yeah, there we go. Mouse hover. Now, this one is a mouse hover. You can see right here, mouse hover. That means when the mouse hovers over the button, this routine will happen. So you can have different code in here. You can have it change color of the button or do something to make it a different type of code. Let's get rid of that for right now and go on with what we were doing and mainly concentrating on the variables today. Before we get into here, we have to decide how we're going to basically set up the variable, how we're going to declare them. I want you to come to the top here in front of public class, and when you come up to there, hit enter a couple of times, and you'll notice right now we're in the declarations area. If you look over in this region right here, you can see the word declarations, and this area up in here, and actually the area in here, and actually the area there are considered declaration areas. You put declarations in here, and declarations are used to declare variables, and that's basically what we're going to do in this area. But first, before we do that, I'm going to ask you to come up the top on your programs, use the apostrophe. The apostrophe, or sometimes called the single quote, is used to declare a comment, and this is something that the computer skips. It doesn't actually look to see whether or not it's code for processing. It just skips over any line that starts with an apostrophe. So we can put remarks in here, or we can put comments in here. And I'm going to have you do this to label your programs. I'm going to put Jim Madden, enter, and another apostrophe, the date 3-26-08, and then the last thing I'd like you to put down here under the apostrophe one is the name of the program, and this is V-A-R, var, T-E-S-S-T, P-R-O-G-R-A-M, program. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to set up for my variables. The things I'm going to set up in the variables is the first thing I have to turn on error checking to help me check variables and make sure I've got names spelled right. This also helps me in a way to set up so that if I do misspell a variable, it'll catch it, and it'll also help me complete variables automatically. So we do option, O-P, and there it is, option, explicit, on. Okay. Option explicit on, and that turns option explicit on, meaning that you must declare all your variables up here, and then anywhere you type them in the program, it's going to double check to make sure you've got one up there, which will help you check spellings and not get messed up in that fashion. I'm going to declare my variables now, and I'm going to do that in the dim, and I need to do that. I can do that in several places. I can do it at this location right here, in here, or I can actually do it within the subroutine. Since I want these variables to be seen by every routine in the class, if I did it in here, they'd only be seen in this little area. We have what we call scope, and the scope of the variable would only be here for any variables declared here. If I have another routine out here, which may be another button or something, then they wouldn't be seen in that button. Since I want the variables seen everywhere, the scope then will be this entire class. Okay, so if I declare them here, that's where I want them, so they can be seen with everything within the class. So I'm going to declare them at this point. I'm going to skip a line here. I'm going to use the word dim, D-I, there it is, space. Now I can actually put another modifier on it. I'm going to skip that part right now, and I'm going to just go to the variable. I for integers, and the naming of variables sometimes can be done with a 3-letter code in front. I prefer a 1-letter code, which indicates the type of the variable we're going to use. So I'm going to do I for integer, and the first integer I want is hours, H-O-U-R-S. Notice how I capitalize that one, space, as, and then I-N-T, there it is, and I can hit enter at that point. Okay, so it helps my typing. All right, let's do another. Dim, space. This next one, I had a little rude awakening here. I tried currency first, and it doesn't have currency in Visual Basic Express, so I couldn't use currency. So I'm going to use a double. So I'm going to do the lowercase d, and then we want rate, R-A-T-E, rate as integer, I-N-T, there it is, enter. Dim, a double again, gross, pay, as, actually no, I want double. And there it is, okay. I've got to go up and change this, and you can see I made a mistake here. Should be double. Now you notice I'm not putting capital letters, but as soon as I click off, it corrects it for me automatically. It does the capitals for me. Really makes it nice. Okay, so there are my variables declared. Let's come down to my code now. Tabbing in. You should tab in an indent to help yourself. And we're going to begin our code. And the first thing I want to do is take something out of the hours text box and put it into the I hours integer variable, because I'm going to use the variables to do my arithmetic. You always put the variable that you want things to go into first, then the equal sign, and then where you want things to come from. So if I do this, I'm going to say look at that already, equals, let's see, what do I want next? I want the text box for hours, so that would be TXTH. See, that's all the further I have to go, and I can put a period in, because you should actually put the thing, and there it is, text, right? Text, and I can just hit enter. So it helps me type. I don't have to do as much typing. All right, I also want to take the rate out of the rate text box and put it into the rate variable. So D, R, A, there it is, equals, and let's see, TXT R, beautiful, dot, yeah, there it is, just like that. Now I want to do my multiplication, and I will put the answer in D gross pay. So D, G, equals, that was quick. And D gross pay, I want to make it times I, H, and I can put an asterisk for times. And I want to times it times D rate, DR, and that looks like it, and I can just hit enter. There it is. Now, before I leave this routine, I want to take and put the answer back out into the TXT gross pay text box, because I can't see it in here. It's true, I've gotten the stuff, I've done the multiplication, the answer is in D gross pay, but that doesn't help me because I can't see it on the screen. You cannot see variables, everything's hidden. So I've got to display it. So let's put TXT equals, isn't that nice? Actually, I don't want equals, I want dot text equals, good, and then I want to do D, G, there it is, hit enter, and it'll go right in there. Okay, I don't need that line. So now I've got everything. Now it's a good idea to save what I've got. So I hit save all, just to save everything properly. And before that, I've set everything up in the proper folder so things are getting saved properly now. Now it's time to test it out. If I press this little button right here, start debugging, I can see a debug run. So let's hit it. Give us some time to calculate. It's taking its good old time. Any second now, it's going to come up. I hope. There it is. Okay, so here's my little text box. Notice how the cursor's on the right hand side for the numbers. So I'm going to put hours. Let's put, let's say you work 20 hours, okay? And I'm going to hit the tab key, and that gets me over to the next one, the rate. And let's say you work that 20 hours for, how about $10 an hour? And so now I can come down here and I can press the gross pay button and it should put the answer there. Sure enough, 200. We'll talk about formatting in another time. But if I want to change something, I can say, let's say make this $9.75 an hour. 9.75. If I hit it again, it'll recalculate. See? And we'll talk about formatting to get dollar signs in here and to make it look much better at another time. But this is how I'd like your calculator or your paycheck constructed, in a manner that you put the information in the boxes before you leave the routine, and that you take it out of the box and put it in variables to do your calculation.